So here I am in Ghosts of Tabor, and I'm about to show you how the Wield VR OneStock sight alignment and gun calibration works in this game. So let's start off by going into the menu. Settings, use virtual gunstock is off. Using physical gunstock is enabled. Let's disable that first. And let's click calibrate physical gunstock and clear all calibrations and done. So now I'm not using the physical gunstock mode. And if I actually, if I just show you how the OneStock works in the game, is the gun stays here in front of my belt. So if I set up my sling correctly, I can actually have my OneStock grip here for the right hand or left hand if you're left-handed, to basically be in the space where I can just bring my controller to where my gun is. If I grip the gun, I can bring it to the in-game area to rest your gun in, and I can let go of both the gunstock and the grip button. So basically I can get rid of both the gunstock and the virtual gun into the same place at the same time. Let's now grip the AK, and I'll show you how the OneStock works for in-game action. So basically, I have the magazine pouches in my chest. I can take the magazine, bring it into the gun, and reload. I'm not gonna do that because it's chambered already. Basically, then I can bring my hand to the front controller mount from the side, or if I want to be able to use a visual reference, I can turn the grip to point away from me. So now I can use the gun's barrel and the front grip as a visual reference. I bring my hand to where the barrel is, or where the front guard is. I just pull back towards my body, and I can reconnect. So right now the OneStock is configured to this SKS rifle here. So I removed the calibrations and I disabled the physical gunstock option. So now I'm just gonna blindly adjust the length, adjust the controller position, take the controller away, adjust the other controller mount, and adjust the height and length of the buttstock to basically a random orientation. I'm doing this blind, just looking at the game world. I can't see the gunstock itself. So now if I take the gunstock and I take the AK, the grip is pointing into a weird angle because I just misaligned it on purpose. So if I want to align the AK, I just basically move my hands, and I can already see through the sides pretty much perfectly. And the biggest issue in this game, in my opinion, with the gunstock where you don't have the front hand length adjustable, is if I bring my hand here, the grip symbol is not showing. So if I bring my hand here, and I can grip the front of the gun, but now there's an extra problem where I have to locate the controller grip and bring it in there. So that takes the reload from a 2-3 stages of action into additional 2 or 3, which basically ruins your performance in the game and might get you killed in the race. So with the OneStock, whatever gun I choose, I can with one thumb open the flip latch, grab the front controller mount, and bring the height, the length of my hand to match where the grip symbol is, and then I can just lock the length. So now I can use the grip location, the visual grip location of the gun, as a reference to where I should put my hand and where the controller grip is going to be. Now, in order to get the sights to align perfectly, I can, with this gunstock, I can choose the angle of each hand, and I can already see through the sight perfectly without the the physical gunstock mode as enabled. But there is this minor issue of when I toggle the grip on the front hand, the gun is pointing into a different direction. So with the OneStock, with the friction joints, I can just align the rear hand to point pretty much exactly. Right now the movement is pretty tiny. So this is now pretty much perfectly aligned, and it took me like 2 seconds to do. So now I can pretty much perfectly like keep holding like this doorway while I don't have a magazine. I have 1 round in the chamber. I can still keep the doorway while putting the magazine in, and when I re-engage the front guard, if the gunstock is perfectly aligned, it's not going to move the side picture that much. With other gunstocks where you can't on the fly calibrate like which way this is pointing, you're pretty much going to have to rely on what you get from the maker of the gunstock and how well did you calibrate the menus for each gun in every game, which can end up taking 10 hours of your time if you play a lot of games. And that is something that nobody really wants to do. You're supposed to be playing those 10 hours and not be a technician. Now, if I have the AK set up perfectly, I can then adjust the height of the cheek rest using this this button here on the cheek rest. So now it's actually, I brought the cheek rest up a little bit. Now the AK is perfectly aligned, and I can take these shots very easily. So now if I take, let's say take this M4 here, which has a foregrip, and I use this, without the physical gunstock mode enabled, the sides are gonna jump because it has a foregrip, so basically the height of the front grip point is gonna change. So with the OneStock, what I can do is I can rotate the rear handle and pretty much align the M4 perfectly as well. Because what really matters in the game is where your front hand is, which way is it pointing, where your rear hand is, which way is it pointing, and where the shoulder connection is, and where the cheek rest is. And since we have this tiny curve here in the shoulder stock, it doesn't really matter if the frame of the gunstock, even though the 2 control mounts are parallel, yes, there is no height adjustment, like that would just complicate things in our opinion. It doesn't really matter if the frame of the stock is perfectly parallel, because first of all, you're not gonna see it during the game. You're just gonna experience where your hand is, where the other hand is, and where it's pulling against your shoulder. So if it's perfectly parallel or pointing 3 to 4 degrees upwards, the frame, it doesn't really make any difference to the game experience. Let's now see what happens when I enable using physical gunstock. So now the gunstock is, I just adjusted it on the fly to the M4, which has a foregrip. I pick up the AK with the gunstock mode enabled and the sides align perfectly. Now, if I take the M4 back and put it into the gunstock and grab the front handle, oh, would you look at that? The sides align perfectly.